fast because considering this is a review, you are supposed to know these topics. Actually, we have seen them before, so it is not the first time we're going to be talking about these topics. So I'm pretty sure you won't have any trouble with them. So in case that you have a question or you want to comment something or whatever, let me know, because as I'm saying, it is a review. I'm going to be a little faster than usual, okay? So let's start. What are the topics we're gonna cover, or that are going to be covered in the exam? Okay, so the past tense of to be, which is the was, where, present continuous, modal verbs of obligation, future with will, future with going to, would like, and comparative and superlative adjectives. The one from Friday, which is the present perfect tense, we're not gonna work with it in the exam because I consider 7 topics are enough. So one more, probably, considering it's only grammar, it's gonna be kind of tedious or hard or boring to study too much material. So we're just gonna cover these topics, and I consider it's not going to be hard, but in case that you still have questions about one, let me know, okay? So let's start with the first one. And the first one is the one of the was and where. Here I have 2 pictures with examples. What does this mean? So remember that was or where is the past tense of the verb to be, which means ser o estar. So obviously, if the verb to be means ser o estar, then the past tense of the verb to be means era, fui, o estaba, o estuve. It depends on the subject, right? So here, for example, in the first sentence, I have an example using it as era o fui. For example, my grandma was a model at my age, which means that she's not anymore a model because she was in the past, right? So ella fue o ella era, which means exactly the same. So this means era o fue. What about estaba o estuve? Well, here we have another example. Yesterday we were at home. We were at home. Si yo lo quiero traducir y me enfoco nada más en que was o were significa era o fui, pues no tiene sentido. Recuerden que también significa estaba o estuve. So if I say, yesterday we were at home, it means that estábamos en casa, right? O sí estábamos en casa. Okay, so what is the structure for this tense? If it is affirmative, it is the subject plus was or were plus a complement, which most of the time is gonna be a preposition or another noun or an adjective. For example, in here, my grandma was a model. Since it is era, that's why model is a noun, which is my complement. And in the other example, I have at home, which is a preposition and then a place. So it means that after the verb to be in past tense, I'm gonna find a preposition or another noun or an adjective, okay? But not another verb. Not in the simple present. I mean, simple past, sorry. Okay, negative. What is the negative structure? Well, it is the subject plus was, were, and not, which is contracted as wasn't or weren't. And in the interrogative is, remember to start first with the auxiliary verb, in this case is was or were, plus the subject, and then the complement, plus 1 question mark, just 1 at the end, okay? Is it clear till here, guys? I repeat, this is just a review, so we're not working with anything you haven't seen before. So it is just a review. Do you still have questions about when or how to use the past tense of the verb to be? Thank you, Kenya. Okay, remember, guys, was is for I, he, she, or it. And where is for we, you, and they, okay? Let's go next. The next topic is the present continuous. So I'm pretty sure I have told you this many times. Before I continue, guys, do you have any trouble if I continue speaking only English? How do you feel if I speak only English? Can you understand everything that I'm saying? Okay. So I'll do, for this time, I'll do everything in English, okay? Okay, I'll continue. I'm pretty sure this is not the first time that I'm telling you this about the present continuous. So the present continuous, probably the first thing that comes to my mind if I ask you, when am I gonna use the present continuous? I'm pretty sure the first thing that is gonna come to your mind is that something that is happening right now at the moment. But remember and keep in mind that the present continuous can also be used to express situations that are going to happen in a future that it's already said, that it's already planned and sure to happen. And it can also be used to talk about situations that are happening in my present time, not necessarily at the moment, but in my life in the present. Okay? So here I have 3 examples showing the different situations I'm talking about. For example, in the first one, it says, they are cooking at the moment. If I tell you they are cooking, so then it means that these people I'm talking about are cooking at this moment. So how am I gonna know if the person is expressing about the present right now, about the present in life, or about the present or about the future? So how am I gonna know that? Because of the context. It is not the same if I tell you I'm cooking pasta, or as if I tell you in front of you that we're talking, if I tell you I'm watching a series. Of course that you're able to see that I'm not watching a series. But if I tell you that I'm watching a series, it means that in the present of my life, that's what I'm doing. Okay? Or if I tell you in front of you, we're talking at this moment, and I tell you, I'm going to, but going to, it's more obvious than it's for future. So let's use another verb. I'm getting married in 3 months. I'm getting married in 3 months. Of course that you can understand that that situation is, it is not happening right now, right? And you can infer by the context that what I said is gonna happen in the future, okay? So I'm gonna read examples, I'll continue. So they are cooking at the moment. I'm sitting at university, which means that this person is not literally at the university right now, just as you. You are studying at university, but you're not there right now, right? And she's visiting her sister next Saturday, which means that it's in future. How do I know? What keywords? In the first one, it says at the moment, which means now. And in the second one, it doesn't say anything, but you can know, as I said before, by the context is if it is happening now or in the present in general. And in the other one, next Saturday is the other keyword that helps me to know it is talking about the future, okay? So how is the structure? I already know when to use it or how to use it, but I need to know what is the structure? How do I form a present continuous sentence? Okay, so here I have the affirmative, which is the subject, plus the verb to be, which is am, is, or are, depending on the subject, plus gerund, which is the main verb with the ing. Best known, right? The negative is the subject, plus the verb to be, and the gerund. I didn't put not. Sorry, it was my bad, guys. But you know about it. Like, if it is negative, I'm gonna add not between the gerund and the verb to be. And interrogative, I start with the verb to be plus the subject and then the gerund. At the end, I'm gonna put a question mark. Just keep in mind, guys, that the verb to be depends on the subject. If it is he, she, or it, I'm gonna use is. If it is I, am, and if it is you, we, and they are. Okay, Questions about this topic? Thank you. Next. Modal verbs of obligation. Now let's go to this topic, which are two words, well, actually four, because they are negative and positive, I mean in affirmative. So that will help me to know or to express a situation that it's like an obligation to happen or the opposite of it. For example, here I have a picture which says, you must turn off all electronic devices. Okay, so what does this mean? That you must do it because it is part of the, in this case, rules to get into the airplane. If you don't do it, probably someone is going to punish your or take your devices or whatever, right? You must turn off. You must turn them off, which means that you don't have another option. Someone else is telling you to do it, so you have to attach to those rules, okay? Then it says, you mustn't tell lies. What does this mean? That it is something that is not allowed, that is prohibited, and that you don't, that you shouldn't do, but it's more than shouldn't, because if you do it, there's gonna be a consequence. So if someone tells you you mustn't tell lies, it's because it's prohibited. I mean, it's not allowed, it's a no, and there's no other option, okay? And then here we have, we'd have to. The person, this person, the picture is saying, I'll have to wear a tie in my new job, which means that it's important to do it because let's say that the job he's working on requires him to wear a tie, which means that if he wants to, he will wear something different. But the company says that he has to wear a tie, so he has to do it. Like, tengo que, right? And then here I have another picture with the opposite, which is don't have to or doesn't have to, or in past didn't have to. You don't have to take the jacket. What does this mean? That you don't, I was going to say the same, that you don't have to do it, right? That it is not necessary. Like, if you don't want to, don't do it, right? Don't have to is when you have like different options to do it. I mean, you don't have the obligation to do that, and you are not like, you're not asked to do it. And the other one with the mustn't is something that you don't have you don't have more options. It's a no, and that's it. So basically, if I say it, if I use these two affirmative words, they might be compared and might might mean something similar. Actually, I can replace one with another. There are exceptions as if they are rules, etc., like something that is like from the government or from an institution, etc. It's gonna be with must. And the have to, let's say, it's a little less like formal, so it's more like something that I am that is important for someone, right? Remember the example of the teacher. If the teacher tells you you must hand in all of your homeworks for tomorrow, and then you don't remember, you have to ask, when do I have to turn in all my homework? Because let's say that the importance depends on who is, let's say, requesting you the things, or what are you asking for? Okay, questions about this topic, guys? Okay, you're so quiet today. Let's continue. Then let's go with the future with will. I already know that the present continuous can be used for situations in the future when it is something already planned. But what happens with will? When am I gonna use will? Okay, so here I have 3 examples. I will be the best dancer in the world. Then in negative, Wait, because this thing is like, oh, sorry. I don't know what I did. I think this project won't be successful. Won't is the contracted form of will not. And then an interrogative, will you take me to the airport tomorrow? Yes, I will. Okay, so when am I gonna use will in the future? When I'm predicting something. When I'm predicting something that I want it to happen, let's call like that. For example, in the first example, I will be the best dancer in the world. It is something that I want. So if I'm planning to do it, but I mean, it's just like an expression, a prediction, something that I want to happen. And then in the second, I think this project won't be successful. So because I have like, let's say, evidence, but evidence based on opinions, not evidence based on real things. So evidence based on comments, on opinions, and like that, so that I'm gonna use the negative form of the will, which is won't. Or for example, if I say, I won't do homework tomorrow, it doesn't mean that you don't have homework to do. It means that you just don't want to do it, and that's what you're thinking about. Maybe tomorrow you change your mind. So it's something that can vary. And then in the example, will you take me to the airport tomorrow? Yes, I will. The person is like, oh, okay, I will. So it's like something, you're going to use the will for situations, obviously talking about the future, that you decide at the moment. So you are planning or you're predicting or you're taking decisions for the future at the moment you're speaking. So let's say if I see that my window is dirty, so then I see, oh, I'll clean it later. So it's something that I just decided to do. I repeat, I'm using will for situations that I decide to do or that I'm planning to do at the moment that I am speaking. So what is the structure of will? Affirmative is the subject plus will plus a base form of the verb. Negative, subject will, not, which is contracted as won't, plus a base form of the verb. In interrogative, I start with the auxiliary verb as always, and the subject, and then the base form of the verb. Remember, guys, if my question is not a yes-no question, for example, will you take me to the airport? Yes, I will. It's a yes-no question. If my question, it starts with a WH question, the only thing that I have to do in this case is to put the WH question at the beginning, and then the yes-no question is going to be the same. For example, let's say that instead of saying, will you take me to the airport tomorrow, it says, when will you take me to the airport tomorrow? Or at what time will you take me to the airport tomorrow? And then the answer is going to be a little bit more specific. But as you could see, I didn't change anything in the structure. I just added the WH question at the beginning of it. Okay? Questions about when to use will or how to use will? Thank you. Thank you, Natalie, Sharon, Kenya. You're the only ones who are answering me, and I have the feeling that you're the only ones with me. Okay, so let's continue then. So I saw the future with will. Now I have the future with the going to. It is like similar, but there's a difference, and it is very clear the difference. As I told you before, I'm going to use will for situations that I plan, decide, or think to do at the moment that I am speaking. And the future with the going to is for situations that were already planned, and that I already knew that were going to happen before I spoke about it. So let's say that is something that I had or that I was aware of. For example, Samuel is going to play tennis this afternoon. What does this mean? That he already has a plan to do it. So it is something that he knows, that he is aware about. So that's why someone else is saying that he's going to. Are they going to their graduation party? In this example, if it is a yes, no question, yes, they are. How or why am I using going to? Because this situation, again, is already planned. So that going to can be also used to predict things, but let's say that this is more sure than with will. With will is just like something that you predict, and you don't necessarily have like a background information. But with the going to is something that is more sure to happen. I mean, it's something that you're predicting it because you have evidence, and it is very high possible to happen. For example, right now at this moment, I think it's gonna rain later because I can see the sky is cloudy. So I have evidence, and that's why I'm saying it. Or if I say you're going to have a quiz next Friday, because it's true. I mean, you're gonna have it. That's why I'm using going to instead of will. Okay. What is the structure of these future with going to tense? Well, I start with the subject plus the verb to be, which is am is are, then going to plus the verb in the base form. Same with the negative, but instead of using just the verb to be, I'm gonna add not or the contracted version. For example, I'm not, she isn't, or they aren't, plus going to and the verb in the base form. And then in the interrogative, I'm gonna start with the verb to be, plus the subject, and the going to with the verb in the base form. Questions still here? Yes, it is. Okay, so no more questions. Good. Thank you. Let's continue then. Now let's go with the would like. So here I have an example. Would you like some tea? Yes, I will. If it is used for questions, it is something very polite. I mean, you don't want to be rude and you want to keep it formal. For being formal doesn't mean that you have to use it all just with people you don't know or with in a group of your job or whatever. No, it can be used with friends. It's just a way of being polite, of being how is this called? Mm, I forgot the word. Polite means, como cortés, right? Thank you. Okay, so we can use it with friends. I mean, it doesn't mean that I have to use it only with people or that it's older than me or only with the teacher or my boss or whatever. You can use it with everyone because, I mean, it's their values, right? And we must use them everywhere. So it's a very polite way to ask someone to offer someone something. When am I gonna use wool? I have three different ways here, but we're talking about would like, which would like means to offer something or to accept something, right? I mean, to offer that you're asking someone else if this person would like something. As in the example, would you like some tea? Or you can use it to express something that you want. For example, if I say I would like to visit Korea, so it means that it's something that I want to do. So would used to show preference. I would rather go to the cinema, which means that I prefer going there. Would to show a wish. I would like to have more free time, which is something, as I told you, to express something that you want, to show a wish. Or for advice, if I were you, I will study economics. But we're focusing more on the one of the wish because we're gonna be working with a wool like. I just posted these three different uses of wool because I wanted you to see the different types of, of uses for this word. Okay, questions about this topic? Thank you. Now, if I'm not wrong, let's go with the last one, which is the one of the comparative and superlative adjectives. Remember that these are adjectives that describe nouns, people, places, or things. There are two ways of doing it. I can do it to compare one thing to another or one group of things to another group of things, or I can use it to express that something is at the top, which means that there's nothing more or nothing less. For example, here I have two pictures. And remember, guys, also that the adjectives are gonna change depending on the ending. If it is a one syllable adjective, it's gonna just be necessary to add er. If it is a more than three or sometimes two or more syllables of the word, it's gonna be with more or less, depending if it is talking about more or if it is talking about less, right? For example, the tortoise is slower than the rabbit. Remember to add than after the comparative adjective when you are comparing it with another thing. When you're comparing one thing to another, we have to use the comparative adjective plus than. But I can say, for example, oh, my cell phone is slower, which means that I'm comparing it to, I don't know, I'm not being specific. I'm just saying that it's slower than it was. Yes? Oh, okay. Or I can say, oh, for example, I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say that, oh, I have a blue dress, but yours is prettier. There in that sentence, I'm not actually mentioning the two things. But if I say yours is prettier, means that your dress is prettier than mine. Okay? So here I have slower than. Or here I have this chair is more comfortable than the others. So than because I'm comparing it to the other chairs, right? And more because comfortable is a comfortable. It's a three-syllable word, so that's why I'm using more before the adjective, okay? When it is superlative on the other way, I have to always add the before the superlative adjective. For example, the tallest, EST, or the most difficult. Same rule as in the comparative. If the adjective is a one-syllable word, I'm just gonna add est at the end of it. But if the adjective is very long and it has two or more syllables, then I'm gonna add must before the adjective. So the most difficult, the tallest. For example, just to practice, I'm gonna tell you an adjective and you're gonna give me the comparative and superlative form, okay? And then we're gonna use it in a sentence. We have 8 minutes, and just before I finish, because this was the last slide, I'm gonna use it for practicing. At the very end, I'm gonna show you a link because I'm gonna upload this presentation, and there you're gonna find different links for all of the topics we have seen, so you can study from there in case that you have questions. But well, I was going to tell you that you're gonna have a homework this week because I want you to study, I want you to practice and get ready for next Friday class where we're gonna be taking the test. Okay? So I'm gonna mention an adjective, and you're gonna tell me the comparative and then the superlative, and then we're gonna use it in a sentence. Okay? Let's see. Pretty. Oh, no, pretty is very easy, and I gave you an example before. Let's say handsome. What is the comparative form of handsome? I'm reading you and listening you. Okay, more handsome. Very good, Melissa. What is the superlative form of handsome then? The most handsome. Very good. Can someone, very good, Kenya. Comparative, my dad is more handsome than my grandfather, okay? And superlative, how would it be? Let's use and take the same sentence, my dad is more handsome than my grandfather, but to make it a superlative sentence, how would it be? Remember, guys, remember that in the superlative, we don't need to compare it to another. We just basically need to mention That is the superlative, which means that there's nothing more, nothing less. So how would it be then? My dad is the most handsome. Excellent. Kenya, you were missing the in the superlative. My dad is the. Okay, remember, and keep it always in mind that we have to add the before the superlative because otherwise it's gonna be incorrect, okay? So basically that's it, guys. I don't know if you have questions. No questions. Okay, I'm gonna show you what I told you before. Here are links of YouTube for you to study all of the topics we have seen during these weeks. And that's it. As I told you, we're not gonna have an activity this week because we're gonna be having the exam. I'm gonna take a, no, because I didn't open it. Can someone take a picture of us and send it to the group, please? Thank you. No. Can someone take a picture of us and send it to the group? Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna stop it here, guys. If you don't have any question, I hope that. Oh, by the way, on Friday that I'm gonna open the exam, etc. I'm gonna be here on Zoom, and I'm gonna send you the link. In case that you have questions, you can talk to me, and I can help you with. Okay. So that's it. Please study the topics, and I see you on Friday. Bye.